Only 11% of South African fund managers are women, according to research by my next guest. And in the UK, there are more funds run by men named Dave than run by women. This week is International Women's Day, and it's a stark reminder of the diversity issues in the financial world. Victoria Ruvers has been in the industry for nearly 2 decades. Let's find out more about opening up the industry. Victoria, thank you so much for your time. I think I read something last year that said if we continue at the current pace, it'll take about 127 years before we see gender parity in the asset management space, which seems a little ridiculous to me.
It's quite a remarkable statistic, isn't it? Particularly in this day and age. And for me, what I find most odd is that the asset management industry and financial services is such a fantastic industry for women to work in as well. So I do hope that it'll take a lot less time than you have originally stated. So let's hope we can see some change coming through.
You say it's a fantastic industry, but I've spoken to friends who work in the industry and they tell horrific stories of the things they have to endure. So it seems for some it's not that fantastic. And when you get people coming in as investment analysts, I think there's not much difference between men and women. There is parity there, but a lot of the women are not staying. So where's the disconnect?
Well, as an industry, there are many roles. So typically one thinks of the analyst role that would lead to a portfolio management role. But from an industry perspective, financial advice is an area that is, I think, hugely suited to women, given the flexibility of the work. Even within the asset management industry, there are many other roles other than just being an analyst. So yes, it's a hard industry to start in. It's very competitive. The hours can be long. But I think one of the benefits of COVID has proven that you don't have to be office bound. The greater flexibility comes now that we can work in many different jurisdictions. Our hours are much more flexible. So I think going forward, we're going to find this is an industry that's much more attractive to many people, actually. But yes, make no mistake, it is an incredibly competitive industry. And in my team alone, I have more than 50% of my team is women. And if I think of that diversity, not just at a gender level, but at a thought level, it's a phenomenal outcome that we have. And so I do hope that we will see transformation and change in this industry, and that a lot more women will see it as an industry where they can have a great career as well as balance in their life. They can have a family, they can, just as I say, have some more balance and actually a great career in what I think is a wonderful industry.
So I feel that leaders in asset management have the moral obligation to make sure there is gender parity. But maybe some of them don't have the same morals that I do. What's the business case? That might be something they'll understand better. The business case for having diverse investment teams.
Well, great outcomes. Ultimately, as an asset manager, our job is hugely serious. We're looking after the savings of the nation. And for us to do that, what we need to do is generate great investment returns for investors. And great investment returns come from diverse thinking. They come from diverse opinions. And that comes from gender diversity, racial diversity, just diversity of all natures. So I think the moral obligation that managers and leaders of businesses have is to ultimately serve their investors and to serve their stakeholders, being their employees, and to create an environment that is conducive and encouraging of all genders and all race. So to me, if you want to build a business for the long term, you need to understand your stakeholders and your investors and what drives them. And so I do believe the motivation exists, not just to serve shareholders, but to serve all stakeholders.
What advice do you have, Victoria, for 2 sets of people? The first being young women who are entering the investment arena at the moment. They're becoming investment analysts and want to become fund managers. What's your advice for them? And what's your advice for the leaders who are meant to guide these young women?
Well, for young individuals coming into the investment industry, I would encourage them to play the long game. I would encourage them to focus on their strengths, know what makes them unique. You don't have to be like everybody else in the industry. If you don't have to be, this is a man's world, as we were saying with the stats, but bring your own femininity and your own individuality to work, and just be yourself, and find mentors who can guide you, whether those mentors are other women or other men, but find people who can give you support and actually help you grow your career. And don't be afraid to work hard. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I think for leaders of business, I would say that this next generation is very different to the generation we grew up in. When you say, I've been in the industry for 2 decades, it doesn't feel like that, but sadly it's true. And, what we have to do is know that this next generation, they look at the world differently, and we can't be dinosaurs. We have to understand what motivates them and how we can encourage them to be the future leaders. And what that takes is an open mind. It takes somebody who wants to listen to your younger employees, and actually just being excited about the future, that it's going to look very different to the past in the way that we've done things. But if we can work together, then I think we'll be successful.
Victoria, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we hope those statistics change in the very near future. Victoria Ruvers of Morningstar Investments.